What are the papers saying, people?
Well, I have the Ghanaian Times for this morning. The big story says pre-Xmas sales, commodity prices decline. But traders complain of low patronage every year.
Low patronage. Meanwhile, they are squeezing us.
Let me take you to the daily graphic. You're not done.
Okay. Let me do one more headline before you come in. So the next one says government begins Ofori-Atta's extradition process, according to the Attorney General who addressed the press yesterday.
Okay, to the daily graphic, Ioko smashes online scam in Ghana, UK, recovers $15.19 million. Also, IMF approves $385 million for Ghana, completes fifth extended credit facility review, and some Jonah petitions foreign minister over illegal takeover of Nigerian investments.
The Chronicle says this morning, I endorse Baumia, vote for him. Jinapor tells delegates. Also the front page this morning, IGP deploys reinforcement teams and armored vehicles to Nalerigo.
The Daily Guide is reporting on its front page, Baumia is MPP's winnable candidate, Jinapor declares. Other stories on the front page, Ofori-Atta Akore extradition requests transmitted to the US, that's according to the AG. State to honor Alex Dade. Ioko recovers $15.9 million in crypto scam and over 1.3 million youth unemployed. That's according to the Ghana Statistical Survey report.
Let me take you to the Ghanaian Publisher. The big story, Baumia is MPP's winnable choice. Jinapor is quoted here saying, court throws out petition against whom member of parliament. Some other stories make the front page.
On the front page of the Daily Post newspaper, AG files extradition request for Ken Ofori-Atta. Comes with pictures of the AG and Mr. Ofori-Atta. And it further reports Ofori-Atta has hired top US lawyers to defend him against extradition request, AG reveals.
Let me take you to the Informer newspaper. Fifi Kwete blasts Ayariga Dafamapo over anti-OSP agenda. Cautions don't operate as an island. Also the front page this morning, MMDCE's air to support government sanitation agenda.
On the front page of the Inquisitor newspaper, after Mahama's bold statement, NDC wants OSP. Fifi Kwete makes position clear. Other stories, no GWCL water for Bachona residents. Local government ministry to streamline mounted billboards. Principled legal minds will shape Ghana's democracy. That's according to NAPO. And Akogun slams minority over reshuffle demand.
Akogun.
Yeah, I take you now.
Written it to you. Wondering Akogun.
Akogun, yeah, that's right. Charlie. Yes, yeah, Muntie 3. Yes. I take you now to Larry Dugbe's The Herald newspaper. I don't have the hard copy, I have the soft copy, the front page. It says, Ofori-Atta arms himself with elite American lawyers to fight his extradition in the U.S. courts. Also, the front page this morning, Margins Group CEO calls for new mindset to build African champions. And also, Extor boss loses bid to dismiss U.S. bribery case.
I'll end with the Ghanaian Point newspaper. The front page stories, National Security deploys nationwide surveillance for 2025 Christmas festivities. Other stories, Judiciary designates 3 high courts to handle Galamsey cases. AG transmits Ofori-Atta's extradition request to the US. My priorities are delivering stable, reliable and affordable electricity in 2026. That's according to Energy Minister Dr. John Jinapor. And High Court dismisses Suhum election petition, awards 200,000 Ghana cedis costs.
And finally, the Inside newspaper says WAPO condemns ECOWAS military action in Benin, demands immediate withdrawal of all regional forces. Also, the front page this morning, the world is irreversibly becoming multipolar. Extract from the speech by Russia's Minister for Foreign Affairs, Sergei Lavrov.
Let's move to citynewsroom.com. Government revokes LI 2462, bans mining in forest reserves entirely. That story has received different responses. So, for example, if you go to the same website, environmental groups commend government for repealing the LI, but Kabiru says it's a cosmetic move to divert public attention. Meanwhile, National House of Chiefs says government should involve them in Galamsey fight. In other headlines, police reinforce security in Nalerigu following violent disturbances. 1.3 million unemployed youth and national security threat. This is according to Judge Ofori-Atta. Meanwhile, Atachian says Edubahin case, prosecution witnesses are strengthening our case. And then this one will trouble you. Ghana Water Limited to shut down water treatment plant for maintenance. Now, if you go to ChannelOneNews.com, repealing LI 2462 not enough. CSOs demand permanent ban on forest mining. Meanwhile, Nana Kumia replies by the champion, but may not cause of MPP's 2024 defeat. Government ends presidential power to approve forest mining. That's the angle Channel One News Online picks on this LI revocation. And then government to acquire 40,000 acres in Yeji for Feed the Industry program. In other headlines, Ghana increases citizenship fees for foreigners. And then undocumented crossing surge at Ghana's borders. 69% of agencies are reporting. Major Online is leading with the water supply issue at Wager with the maintenance. And other headlines, the Sam Jonah story. Shares worth over $50 million illegally removed. Jonah Capital accuses CEO of Nigerian CAC. In other headlines, Parliament passes National Health Insurance Fund Amendment Bill. And then House of Chiefs want to be central in the Galamsey fight. Ghana News Agency lead stories Attorney General lauding Iyoko for their work and also requesting the extradition of the former finance minister. All right, Sky, where do you want to start?
Okay,
from?
quickly, let me tell you about Christmas, because the Ghanaian Times says commodity prices decline, but traders complain of low patronage. The story is by Raymond Appiah-Mponsa, Eugene Ampiao and Prince Ado Frimpong reporting together. They say with Christmas just days away, Accra's busy markets are bustling with human in movement, causing huge traffic, yet traders continue to complain of low patronage and sales. Now, from Makola to Kantamanto, traders say sales remain unexpectedly low despite the prices of food and other household items witnessing some price falls in the festive season. If you go into the story, they say that, for instance, at the Achimota market, a bucket of tomatoes that sold between 100 Ghana cedis and 120 Ghana cedis in early October now sold between 70 and 80 Ghana cedis, while 25-liter container of cooking oil has dropped sharply from 700 Ghana cedis and 750 Ghana cedis in September to between 500 Ghana cedis and 520.
In a related story, the High Street Journal says VAT cuts stable cedi ease cost pressures for Ghanaian traders. All right, a combination of tax relief, exchange rate stability, and easing inflation is making the cost of doing business in Ghana cheaper and more predictable for traders, according to the Import and Exporters Association of Ghana. The association says recent fiscal and macroeconomic adjustments are helping importers and exporters better manage operation costs, particularly those linked to foreign currency transactions, port charges, and day-to-day expense. In his annual review, Samson Asaki Awingobit said government efforts to streamline taxes are already yielding tangible benefits for businesses. He pointed to the removal of the 1% VAT 1% COVID health recovery levy and recent adjustments of the VAT as key measures. And then he also points to exchange rate stability and that the gains in the cedi are particularly important for importers as they lower the effective cost of international transactions. The question for Ghanaians is whether they are feeling those positive things in their pockets. There's another one that says reference rates plunge, but borrowing costs still stay high in Ghana. So somehow, even though the numbers on paper are looking good, some traders are not passing the thing on to us. That's the issue. So the next question should be, so these traders who say people are not buying, maybe they should lower prices further.
But
everything, VAT have been reduced.
But remember, they told us that there's going to be demand for goods this Christmas. Then for them, that means that they will increase their prices. The Daily Graphic reported that
they should
a few
be there.
weeks back. But let me take you to the Inquisitor newspaper, page 5.
We are fasting. We will eat any Christmas anything.
Will you fast the entire Christmas period? You can't. Anyway, no Ghana Water Company Limited water for Bachona residents. This is on page 5 of the Inquisitor newspaper, and it reads: residents of Bachona on the Spintex Road in Accra have not had a single drop of water from their pipes, from the pipes of the Ghana Water Company Limited (GWCL) for over 2 years. With the ugly situation, the vendors of water in tankers are cashing out big time, or cashing in rather big time, as the residents paid between 1,500 Ghana cedis to 2,000 Ghana cedis for water from the vendors on a weekly and monthly basis. Interestingly, the GWCL has established an office in the area, and the residents are questioning the relevance of the office since they don't enjoy the services of GWCL. According to the residents, moves to have an answer from the GWCL office in the area as to why they have not enjoyed water for over 2 years have not yielded any results. Quote, the painful thing is The officials of GWCL in our area do not even know why they are not providing us with water, a resident said. They said that having exhausted all avenues, they are likely to resort to demonstrations and illegal means to force the GWCL to provide them with
It's going to get worse because
there needs to be action.
The water company has announced a shutdown of the water treatment plant today to allow for critical maintenance works to improve water service delivery. In a statement issued by Communication Department, the company said the plant will be taken out of operation from 6 a.m. So it's already out to 6 p.m. to facilitate essential technical works as part of ongoing efforts to ensure reliability and integrity of water.
It will not continue throughout the Christmas period.
Now, the areas include the Greater Accra region, Accra Central, Dansuma, Malam, Wejak, Bawe, McCarthy Hill, Carnation, Odoko, Kolebu, Mamprobi, Chokwa, Bekala Pass, Tessan, where we are, Kukumlemle, Alajo, Nima, Mamobi, Joulu, Abilingpe, and surrounding communities.
Wow, that's deadly. Let me take you to page 3 of the Chronicle this morning. IGP deploys reinforcement teams and armored vehicles to Nalerigo. You find that story on page 3. Richard Owusu writes that the Inspector General of Police, Christian Tete Yohonu, has deployed reinforcement teams and armored vehicles to Nalerigo and its surrounding communities in the northeast region following the recent burning of 2 houses by some youth in the regional capital. Now, reports indicate that there were threats to burn additional houses and attack residents, prompting a swift police action. They get a copy of the paper.
Well, the government has banned or repealed LI 2462. It's a big story. If you go to ChannelOne News Online, they say government ends presidential power to approve forest mining. And this is in revoking the LI. The revocation took effect after a new law, the Environmental Protection Revocation Instrument 2025 came into force yesterday, on Wednesday, December 10, that's 2 weeks ago, following a presentation in Parliament by the Minister. The decision is part of renewed efforts to combat illegal mining, known as Galamsey. Now, LI 2462 attracted strong criticism from environmental groups and the general public, who blamed it for worsening the destruction of our forest. Arocha has commended government for doing this. National House of Chiefs is asking for direct involvement in the fight against Galamsey. The President of the House, Ojia Hoho Yaojibi II, is calling on government to urgently involve traditional authorities in the fight against Galamsey to reduce the menace.
Yes, Bernard, and still related to Galamsey, on page 2 of the Ghanaian Point, Judiciary designates 3 high courts to handle Galamsey cases. And it reads, the judiciary has designated 3 high courts to exclusively handle cases related to illegal mining, commonly known as Galamsey, as part of intensified efforts to combat environmental degradation and recover state assets lost to unlawful mining activities. The announcement was made by Supreme Court Justice Gabriel Scott Poamang during the annual Chief Justice's mentoring program held on Wednesday, December 17. According to Justice...
That story actually came yesterday.
Yes.
It has more details today, though. Yeah.
Okay.
So shall I continue?
Well, I think the facts has been established.
Yeah.
So just a reminder.
All right, Bernard, let me take you to a troubling story. You find that story in the Informer for this morning. 1.3 million Ghanaian youths are sitting idle.
Not in employment, education, or training.
Exactly. Now, the story is on page 6 of the newspaper, and it says that more than 1.3 million young Ghanaians were out of work, school, or training in the third quarter of 2025, underscoring persistent labor market pressures and widening skill gap, according to a new data sets released by the Ghana Statistical Service. Now, the figures show that 1.3 million people aged 15 to 24 years, representing some 21.5% of the age cohort, were classified as not in education, employment, or training, highlighting growing concerns about youth disengagement from productive economic activity. This is particularly troubling.
Yes, and I want to stay with that. Sky, are you done with that?
Yeah, I just want to draw attention further. If you go further into the story, they say that the data also reveals sharp regional disparities. So NEET rates among persons aged 15 to 35 range from a high of 25.3% in the central region to a low of 9.5% in the OT region, pointing to uneven access to jobs, education, and training opportunities across the country. This is troubling. The government has to sit up.
Well, on that story, the Daily Post is reporting that the Minister for Youth Development, Ofori-Atta, says 1.3 million unemployed youth a national security threat. And it reads, the Minister for Youth Development and Employment, George Ofori-Atta, has warned that rising youth unemployment poses a serious national security threat, urging collective action to address the growing challenge. Speaking in an interview on Citi Eyewitness News on Thursday, December 18, the minister described the unemployment situation among young people as alarming, stressing that it should be a major concern for all Ghanaians. Quote, the number of unemployed people is a scary situation. It's a big national security threat, and all of us must be worried about the rising trend of youth unemployment, Ofori-Atta said, adding that the government is taking steps to significantly reduce the numbers. His comments come against the backdrop of the new data from the Ghana Statistical
The Attorney General
Service.
says he cannot provide a timeline for the extradition of former finance minister, despite his office transmitting a formal request from the OSP. Speaking at the Government Accountability Series yesterday, Thursday, December 18, Dr. Ayine explained that extradition is a judicial process that must be determined by the courts in the country where the suspect is located. According to him, the matter is now before the U.S. judicial system following the OSP's request for Mr. Ofori-Atta to be extradited to face 28 charges in Ghana.
And still related to that, there's a story on page 3 of the Chronicle. Former Maslow boss close to being extradited to Ghana. Dr. Ayine quoted here. Jennifer Ambole reports that the Attorney General and Minister of Justice, Dr. Dominic Ayine, says the former Chief Executive Officer of the Microfinance and Small Loans Center, Maslow, Sedina Christina Tamaklo Tiono, is close to being extradited to Ghana after United States authorities completed extradition processes or proceedings against her. Further details you find in the newspaper. Still related to the courts, if I may. If you go to page 3 of the Ghanaian Publisher, court throws out petition against Suhum MP. Now, the the High Court in Ofori-Atta has dismissed an allegation, an election petition challenging the victory of Frank Siedu Bekwe as the duly elected member of Parliament for Suhum in 2024, bringing an end to the legal contest over that particular seat.
Okay, so let me take you back to the bit on the Attorney General. This is on the OSP. The Inquisitor reports NDC wants OSP. Now, the General Secretary of the National Democratic Congress, Fifi Fiavikwete, has dismissed claims of a conspiracy within the party to scrap the office of the Special Prosecutor. Speaking on Joy News PM Express on Wednesday, the former K2 South MP said the withdrawal of the private members' bill was a direct result of presidential intervention, not a coordinated party agenda against the anti-corruption office. Quote, what I will say is that you heard what the president actually said, that they should withdraw it, he stated. The controversy followed the sponsorship of a private members' bill by the majority leader and majority chief whip in Parliament to seek the abolishment of the office of the Special
In fact, on the front page of the Informer newspaper, they attribute the direct quote to him, don't operate as an island. He is quoted as telling...
He said the same thing on face-to-face with Jamal. Let me end with sports. Include Nketia Hudson Odoi in Black Star squad. Nilante Van der Poel.
Yo.
You support that thing?
But I've been telling you.
Former Minister of Sports Edwin Nilante Van der Poel has called for the inclusion of Eddie Nketia and Callum Hudson Odoi in Ghana's squad for the FIFA World Cup. He was speaking in an interview, and he basically says that he thinks that we have to put our best foot forward. The good thing is that we are going to play against England.
I've been saying that.
And he said on Onuya TV to give a psychological advantage over them. They won't have that overconfidence. Imagine having Jordan Ayew, Antoine Semenyo, Edin Ketia, Hassan Odoi, Kudus, etc. in attack. It just makes us stronger.
No, Nilante.
Pardon you. That was the new super review.
Hi.